It's time for TWiT This Week in Tech. I'm back, baby, and we've got a great panel for you, including Swisher, Malik, Iyaz, Akhtar, and a visit from we think maybe an Oscar-winning producer. We'll find out. This Week in Tech is next.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Audio bandwidth for This Week in Tech is provided by Winamp for Android, the ultimate media player for your desktop and Android device, featuring wireless sync. Download it free at winamp.com/Android. Video bandwidth for TWiT is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com. This is TWiT, This Week in Tech, episode 290, recorded February 27th, 2011. The whipped cream situation. This Week in Tech is brought to you by GoToMeeting. Face-to-face meetings are sometimes important, but they can be a hassle and a waste of money. Do more, travel less with GoToMeeting. For your free 30-day trial, visit gotomeeting.com/TWiT. And by FreshBooks, the easy online invoicing service that gets you paid quickly and makes you look professional. Get started with a free package at freshbooks.com. And by Squarespace.com, the fast and easy way to publish a high-quality website or blog. For a free 14-day trial, go to squarespace.com/TWiT. It's time for TWiT, the show that covers all the tech news of the week. We chew it over, we mull it over, we perhaps send it to our second or third stomachs and chew it and mull it until it is finally formed into a paste, and then we make milk out of it. No, wait a minute, that's a cow. Joining us, and I'm sorry about that. And let me start all over again. This is just horrible. Take two. I never do that. Even the dog was like, what the hell? It's been 3 weeks. I'm a little rusty. It's time for TWiT. Time to talk about the tech news of the week. I am back, and I want to thank Tom Merritt for doing such a great job for me while I was gone. Episode 290. Now, I missed a couple, but boy, we have a great panel joining us right now, starting with Swisher, who actually came to the studio with her dog, Phineas.
I did. Hello.
Very nice, from allthingsd.com.
He's the brains of the operation.
Phineas is?
Yeah.
He's actually about the most adorable dog I've ever seen.
I got him at the pound, and I urge everybody to adopt dogs.
A rescue dog.
Rescue dogs.
Oh, is he a sweetie? Also joining us, Iyaz Akhtar. It's great to see you, Iyaz.
Hi, guys. How you doing?
First time on TWiT. Iyaz is a writer for PC Mag and also hosts his own podcast called thisoldnerd.com.
Yeah. Occasionally, you'll see me on that other show, TNT.
And a real regular on TNT. Mm-hmm. If you're an old nerd, what am I? Decrepit.
I was thinking more of an internet time, kind of old, because I've been doing this for about 20-something years now.
Oh, that's pretty old.
That's old.
That's old. And also joining us right now, Mr. Malik. He's home from his travels all over. You were in New York for a while, I think.
Just a day.
Just a day?
Yeah.
So it's hardly worth it.
Oh, it was totally worth it. New York is always worth it.
I love New York. Gigaohm.com. So, Kara, you had the scoop of the week this week because, I guess it's last week this week.
Whatever.
You, on All Things D, announced that Apple was going to announce the iPad 2 on March 2nd. You stand by that? Because we've seen the invitation now.
Yes, I think I'm standing by that.
There is a little curl.
Of an iPad there, so I'm guessing it's an iPad. Yes, it is indeed an iPad.
But you knew that before the invite went out.
Yes, that was.
Do you actually have? Do you have people inside Apple who will tell you things?
Well, Steve Jobs is always at my house for dinner, but no. We have really good sources.
You say, Steve, raise one eyebrow if you're going. Yeah.
No, we have really good sources all through everywhere. That's why we get so many good scoops on All Things D. But we report. We do reporting. That's how we get those scoops. I know it's crazy, but
that's a wacky idea. Do you find it difficult to get information out of Apple, though? Come on, aren't they?
It's like the Mount Everest of trying to get scoops, of course, and which is challenging, but people have climbed Mount Everest. We've had a couple good scoops when they bought that ad network. We had that one, and we've had a bunch of them. It's harder. It's definitely harder because the people there are more nervous to tell you things, and justifiably, I suspect.
Yeah, because their job is on the line if they get caught.
if they get caught. But, there's lots of ways to leak now, so thank you, Facebook. Stuff like that.
Not thank you, Julian Assange. Thank you, thank you, Mark
I
Zuckerberg.
always say that Yahoo enjoys leaking through Gmail, which is always funny.
You were at Yahoo. We're going to talk about what you found out from Yahoo, too, in just a little bit. So iPad 2, do your sources tell you anything about what that iPad 2 might be?
I think what John Pachkowski's been doing a lot of reporting on. I think the camera is a for certain kind of thing.
Now, a camera in front or in back or both?
I think it's going to be both. I think it's going to be both. I don't see.
You agree, Ohm, a camera in back and in front?
Sure, why not? I mean, I don't have personal information.
Well, I mean, I could pretty much say for sure that they're going to have a front-facing camera because they're just trying to promote this ridiculous FaceTime thing.
Well, no, it's more for that, but more for it's actually better. The iPad is probably better for that kind of thing.
Yeah, but I think there might be some question about whether you put the Galaxy Tab has a real camera, but it's kind of weird to hold this big thing up and take a picture with it.
Well,
Well, it seems like it'd work a lot better for FaceTime. So when I show off somebody else doing something, you're holding up the iPad, you just switch cameras. I mean, if the iPod Touch already has it, I don't see why the iPad 2 wouldn't.
That's a good point.
It just seems like it's just the natural evolution of this.
I think they're looking for work, that you use them at work as networking.
Oh, really?
As conferencing stuff.
Conferencing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I use GoToMeeting on the iPad. Actually works pretty nicely. And I guess if it had a camera, but that would be the front-facing more than the...
Yeah, but I think it's just why can...
Who uses FaceTime here?
Not me. I
do.
Iyaz and Ohm both do.
Yeah.
I don't. I only have Walt Mossberg on mine, and I don't really want to FaceTime with him all the time. Though he's an excellent FaceTimer.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Who do you FaceTime, Iyaz?
My wife and my son. Right now, we have a really odd living thing because I sold my house and now I have to work in Manhattan, but they live somewhere else. So I get to see them during the week during FaceTime. So it's kind of nice. And the weird thing is that FaceTime seems to work better than Skype a lot for video.
I was going to say, so because that's what I would use Skype for.
Skype for your family.
I use Skype all the time to call family members, my daughter, and when she's out of the country or now and she's at college. But I use it on a laptop. But you're saying you like it on the phone form factor.
Yeah, the weird thing is my kid, he's like 8 months old. He'll grab the actual phone or something. He'll actually put it in front of his face. So he's actually playing with the thing. He actually sees me and he can hear me very well. Versus a laptop where he can end up closing windows really fast by just tapping like a baby.
Yeah.
And the other thing is I use a MiFi instead of a regular phone. So I can use FaceTime really well, but Skype really is lousy on a MiFi. At least in New York it is.
Right.
So that's why I like FaceTime.
FaceTime still doesn't work on 3G. You have to use Wi-Fi, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Nothing changed when I was gone.
We would use FaceTime. Megan was just my partner Megan is just in Afghanistan, and Skype didn't work, and I would have loved to use FaceTime, but she works at Google, and they're apparently not allowed to have them. I'm not sure.
Really? There's a scoop.
I don't know. No, she doesn't use. She used to use an iPhone, and then suddenly it disappeared, and that Nexus.
She has to do Android, huh?
Yeah, apparently.
I like the Nexus S. I'm happy with it. It reboots randomly. Has she noticed that?
I don't think she would say it if she did.
Oh, yeah, because she works at that the G word.
Yeah.
Ohm, how do you use FaceTime?
They're my friends, my family.
Really? Okay, so I stand corrected. I just thought, I can't imagine anybody using this. But I guess somebody does. At least two people on this panel.
Yeah, Iyaz made a good point. I think the Skype client leaves a lot to be desired on the phone. So
that gives Apple an opportunity.
It's actually a very stable video chatting tool. Very stable.
What else will an iPad 2 have, Ohm?
I actually have no idea, given that I was traveling and I really didn't have the story. So I can't really comment. My wish list for the iPad would be just more memory. I think
more storage.
It's nice.
It's got 64 gigs. That's a lot. You want more than that?
I think that fills up really fast if you carry, let's say, a season of some TV show.
Right.
And it slows down as you have a lot of stuff on the device. So I would like more memory would be my number one wish.
Not more RAM, but more storage.
More storage.
More storage.
A better network would be nice, but that's not going to happen in the U.S. So
then AT&T? Don't you think there'll be a Verizon iPad?
I hope so, but I really would like to see it on Sprint and T-Mobile as well, because their networks are actually better right now because they're not.
Because nobody's using them.
Well, that's not quite true, but they actually have better networks for now.
Yeah.
So from a broadband perspective, so it would be nice to have more options.
Kara, come on, you know what else
I
is
don't
it going
know.
to
I
have?
haven't seen it. You know, the idea whether it's going to have Retina display. I think it's probably going to have a different body.
It ain't going to have Retina display because it would add to the battery
I think smaller.
drain.
I think thinner.
I think thinner and smaller.
Thinner and smaller and hipper.
I think the Detroit model is what Apple's going on right now. What they need to do is make the old iPad look old. So what do? You add fins.
They did that with the iPhone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You add
I don't think it's
fins.
going to be as dramatic a fix as the iPhone 4 and the iPhone 3 was. I suspect not.
And people do legitimately complain that the Kindle is so much easier to hold in bed when you're reading. It'd be nice if the iPad were thinner
and more
lighter.
rounded. I suspect.
You agree, Iyaz?
Well, what I would like the device to do, apart from the style change, that's going to happen no matter what, so the old one looks outdated,
Right.
is I'd like it to be, like when you take it out of the box, I don't want to have to sync it anymore. Like I just want to be able to just use it.
Dream on, dude. That's Apple's model.
It's the one thing, if I'm going to have a wish list, that's it. I just want to be able to...
That's the one thing Apple will never give up.
Come on.
They
Maybe
want you to hook it up to the iTunes.
Yeah, I mean, I can have iTunes right on the device, though. Like, I don't have to sync this thing up to do it. Maybe there's some crazy way they can activate it wirelessly.
Maybe if there were like this, somehow you could have like a network that would go through the air and you didn't need wires and you could like surf and wouldn't that be cool?
You're living in the future, Laporte.
I think there's going to be a lot of iterations of this iPad over time because now finally there's competition
Mm-hmm.
eventually, and so all these Android tablets are going to be different in lots of ways depending on which manufacturer is making them. So Apple's going to have to obviously up the feature.
Not just Android either. You've got the RIM
Yes, you have
playbook,
the
which is
RIM.
very impressive. You've
It
got. We don't know what HP is going to do, but there's presumably a
there's the
WebOS
playbook or whatever.
device coming out.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that they're going to have to keep competing and adding. I mean, obviously John wrote a story last week that said, of the 4.5 million tablets sold, Apple made 4.3 million of them. So they have to differentiate themselves and continue to innovate, I guess.
Is it? I mean, it took. How long did it take for people to come up with iPhone competitors? A couple of years at least.
Yes.
It's going to happen faster this time.
Oh, definitely. There were so many at, we called it TES, Tablet Entertainment Show. But what was interesting is you couldn't touch a lot of them because they were all in glass.
Well, I was, everybody said the Zoom, the Motorola, and by the way, the Zoom is a terrible name. Zoom, I
And they
guess,
also
or
got sued for
Zoom,
that, too.
is, but you couldn't touch it. It was running a video of Honeycomb.
That's
so
right.
I was really kind of surprised that everybody said, "Oh, best of CES." Well, it was just a video
you
player
got to
from
see it
what
in the
we
back,
saw.
In the back rooms, you got to see.
Did you get to go back?
I didn't. I know.
Yeah, I've played with it since then, and and it actually works, and it's nice.
Yeah,
and Honeycomb
it's nice.
is great.
It's just that, people who want to buy the iPad want to buy the iPad. It's just the same thing with the iPhone.
Can someone succeed against the iPad? Is it possible to compete against the iPad?
Yes, of course it is. Of course, it depends on what people want. I mean, we showed off a Dell Streak at last year's D conference, which I said was like a giant waffle because they kept insisting.
It's too big.
It was not. It was too big, too small for a tablet, and too big for a phone.
It's 5 inches.
So I kept holding up to my ear and calling it the waffle, but which wasn't, the guy didn't like it too much when I did that. But they, there'll be different kinds. There'll be tons and tons of different kinds, and that's, diversity is interesting to consumers, I think.
Is it an issue if Apple changes the screen resolution? I mean, one of the advantages Apple has is they only have 2 screen resolutions to support. I guess they have 3 if you include the 3GS, so maybe it isn't a disadvantage.
I think the big thing about the tablet economy right now is that everybody else is playing Apple's game. They're all trying to catch up with Apple. So whatever Apple does this coming week will actually be a big leap forward compared to its rivals. And it's not going to be little tiny features. It's going to be in the usability and the software, in how it does things. There will be new kind of software functionality built into it. I am guessing that would be the key differentiation, and that's how they're going to keep, these other players guessing. I mean, I've used a couple of these Android-based tablets, and, I've used them. I don't want to use them anymore. I mean, they're nice, but they're not, they're not a reason for me to not use an iPad. So
they're not that much better yet.
No, they're not. They're not even close to being better. I think the first one, which had some semblance of an edge over the original iPad, was the HP tablet, and that's not going to be available for another few months. I mean, what are these guys talking about competing with Apple? Half of them are not even on the market. There are just 2 or 3 other tablets which are out there, at least in the U.S., and they're as expensive as Apple. So there is still a big advantage Apple has, and I think on the 2nd of March we are going to be surprised one more time in terms of like what they do with the experience of the iPad.
iOS 5?
Who knows? Like, look, I have no idea, so I'm not going to sit here and speculate.
Oh, why not? Come on, Ohm.
Well,
Join the fun.
There's other people doing that. They do a better job of speculation.
Make some crap up.
Well, then, somebody else has to do something.
No, I'm kind of with
Ignoring
you.
you completely.
No, I'm kind of with you. I think that's. I think that, especially in the mainstream press, people act as if these rumors are fact, and no one knows what it's going to be. So.
Well, I mean, what's interesting, I just was
Kara.
noticing. No, well, I knew when it was and what it would be about. We didn't report anything we didn't
Walt's
know.
got one. Come on.
I have no idea. I really don't. He actually doesn't tell me. But what's interesting is that, someone was just going by saying that there are going to be more Honeycomb-based, Google-based, Android-based tablets out than the iPad soon. I think the issue is, even though Android has surpassed iPhone in terms of money, not in least, not even slightly. I mean, these Android phones don't make money for all these individuals.
It's free.
Exactly. So, I mean, they may surpass them in size. It's just, what we lose in money, we make up in volume. It still
Well,
hasn't
Google
happened
makes
yet.
money by people using Google
That's
stuff
right. That's what
because
they're
of
doing
the
it for.
advertising.
So this is not. I mean, they may surpass it in size, and eventually they'll make more money from it. But it's not a money-making opportunity for Google at this point.
I think it's the same logic we've had in the PC industry, right? You had Microsoft make a lot of money from their operating system and applications, whereas the PC guys have made little or marginal amount of money. The hardware manufacturers, I think you're seeing exactly the same thing happening in the tablet and the smartphone. Google is going to do really well, and I'm happy for them because, they've figured out a way to make money in a platform which was very controlled. And, I'm not so sure if other people actually, the hardware manufacturers actually do have a shot. I think the guys who do have a shot are people like Samsung because they make memory and they make screens and they make processors and they make a whole bunch of other components. And then now they got an OS which they can get from Google to put on their device so they can make some amount of money. So, I don't think we should, there is a lot of confusion which goes on because Apple does the OS and the hardware. So we confuse that. And then we have Google which does the OS. So I think if Google OS in the smartphone and the tablets is going to be a spectacular winner because it's going to boost Google's services. I think it's not about Google making dollars and cents from the actual OS, but they're making money from the various services they sell, whether it's Gmail, advertising, whatever.
Yeah, and the other thing is we've seen that Google, when they have their app market on actual tablets, when they have it on phones, those phones and those tablets do a lot better. So, I mean, Google does have a small interest in their OS doing well because once you've seen Android on all these, terribly cheap tablets, like I just saw one like on QVC, the Next Book, this terrible Android tablet, but it didn't have the Google app market.
Right.
And it's when they have
what good is
their...
that?
Right, when they have their app market, they're going to get a nice little cut of money there too. I mean, they also have their subscription service, so they're going to win any which way because the more things that have Google on there, the better they're going to do. And the other thing is with Honeycomb, they really went out there and tried some things that aren't like the iPad. It looks very different. It looks like you can actually use it as a computer if you really wanted to, which is, I know this is when tablets are supposed to be, but it's actually very interesting to me to see what Google has done with Honeycomb.
It's actually very Windows-like. The Honeycomb is very Windows-like, how you actually navigate and, look, I like the Honeycomb, but I'm not so sure the new tablets are very impressive just yet.
Right. I think it's going to take a while before. I mean, I remember when Android was first introduced, it was supposed to be Google's giant iOS competitor, and it was really just kind of lackluster. And since this is their first version of their own tablet OS with the Honeycomb, I figured maybe by next year they'll have it completely down. I mean, they seem to take their time, but they eventually get it right.
You just wrote an article I thought very interesting about the FTC looking at Apple's in-app purchases by kids Both Iyaz and Kara have little kids, and boy, it's the last thing you want to do is give a little kid an iPhone or an iPad, especially if you're running one of those fishing programs or the farming programs, because it's not so hard for them to buy stuff and spend a lot of money without your knowledge.
We just got Katy Perry's California Girls video, unfortunately. Yeah. There was a reason for that. My son is 9, and suddenly he became interested in it.
He says, that Katie, there's something about her I just like.
It's called the whipped cream situation.
There's something going on.
I was quite pleased with that.
So I'm glad the FTC is investigating it. How serious are they, Om?
Who knows? FTC or the Washington, D.C. these days is pretty hard to read, right? They say they're investigating a lot of things. Nothing really comes out of it. So who knows?
Exactly.
This is a very strange Washington, D.C. There's a lot of talk, not much action. So we don't know.
That's the best way to get elected. Say the things that your constituency wants to hear, but whatever you do, don't do anything.
Okay. Well, I think I'll keep that in mind should I decide to run for public office.
They seem to have done a lot of looking at things, and they never act. They didn't act on AdMob. They didn't act on Facebook and the privacy things. They keep investigating. The ITA with Google might be the first move, and I think they did stop one thing where they at
well,
Comcast,
but there's a chilling effect because I think Apple, for instance, approved Google Voice 1 year later, 1 year after the fact, because of scrutiny from the feds.
The AdMob went through because of Apple's actions right before it, with their things. So there's some scrutiny, but there's no action. There hasn't been I think the ITA one might be if Google decides to fight.
What is the ITA?
The software flight information software company that Google bought.
That's the Google bought that.
ITA software. It's a very powerful company.
Yeah.
And a lot of they've got an array of opponents to it, and that should be an interesting signal.
Mostly, the array of opponents is Google's competition.
Absolutely, but of course it would be. But
Microsoft.
Airlines, not just Microsoft. I know Google says it all the time, but there's legitimate people nervous about Google having all this flight information, including myself. That's a very powerful company they bought.
What is your fear? That Google will somehow know that you're going to Barcelona and show you ads for Barcelona?
Not today. They're not tracking me, but no, I think that they have the lock on a lot of critical information. And if you have a travel company, for having Google owning the travel information, it could lots of things could happen. I'm not an antitrust lawyer, but So.
No, I think it's the big issue is that it impacts the business of people like.
He's just eating your duck.
Kayak and Orbitz and other players who buy their data from ITA software. I can't really fault Google for doing an end run around these guys and buying the company which is selling all these third parties' data. That's what, if you have the money, you want to spend it, right? I think what the government needs to do is ensure that it doesn't get control of the data and just basically locks out competition. I think that is not what should happen. They should be allowed to own this company, but there should be an oversight and access to information to third parties.
Yeah, but the other thing is Expedia actually has their own software service for their own travel information, and there's a number of competitors out there. So if Google even bought this, I think this is actually a great opportunity for someone like Expedia to partner with like Facebook or something like that, where you see these results showing up there. Just because Google owns ITA or they end up owning ITA, it would seem like it'd be in their best interest to license that software to make as much money as they can. Because they just lock it down. It doesn't seem like it would make any financial sense to do that.
We're going to take a little bit of a break here. When we come back, there's something going on tonight. We started a little early this afternoon. I hear there's like a TV show everybody wants to watch tonight.
That's why I'm wearing my glasses.
Yeah, you're very cool. You got that Hollywood look. Are you ready for the red carpet?
I feel like, I want to thank my parents and my children.
We're going to talk to the producer of one of the Oscar-nominated films in just a little bit. Wish him luck as he heads off.
He's probably headed.
He's about to go to the red carpet. And we've actually, in a limo, in an actual large car. Yeah. But before we do that, I want to take a break for an ad. That just shows you how nonchalant.
I liked it. That was smooth.
How casual. How revenue-focused I am.
Excellent.
I want to mention our friends at GoToMeeting. Citrix does such great stuff, and they've got a great meeting program. We were just talking about how a front-facing a camera on the iPad would be so great for GoToMeeting. GoToMeeting is free on the iPad. It's a fantastic tool. I was at a meeting in the backyard out here. I just sat on the bench. I had Wi-Fi. And because it's got a microphone and a speaker, I was in the meeting. If I'd had a camera, man, that would have been even better. GoToMeeting for product reviews, for sales presentations, training sessions, a collaboration, all right from your desk. Windows, Mac, and yes, iPad. If you want to try it free for 30 days, just go to gotomeeting.com/twit. GOTO meeting.com/twit and give it a try. Why do all those long, boring conference calls or all that extra travel when you can have a GoToMeeting instead? GoToMeeting.com/twit. Let me dial Dana Brunetti up here. Let's see. He's going to be on number 3 because Dana is the producer of The Social Network. And he's with Trigger Street and works here. Kevin Spacey. Hey, Dana, how are you?
Hey, I'm good, man. I'm trying to turn down the audio here.
You look so sharp in that tuxedo.
Hold on a second. I got you on the audio. I got to stop you streaming. There you are.
That's all right. Wait a minute. Let me pull him up here. This is awesome. Well, congratulations on the nomination for Best Picture.
Thanks.
Actually, you have a number of nominations. I know Best Adapted Screenplay as well.
Yeah, we have adapted screenplay, score, editing, and director, and a bunch of others that I'm forgetting. I'm too nervous to even.
Actor.
Is there? Oh yeah. Is there? Yeah. Let's not forget that.
Jesse Eisenberg is nominated for Best Actor.
Yeah.
Sound and cinematography. We have 8 in total.
Oh, you must feel pretty good about that.
So I got to fix my bow tie here.
So, do you get to sit like up front with the big shots?
Yeah, I'm in row F, seat 17.
Whoa.
Whoa! So we're gonna look for you on the broadcast.
Center.
Whoa!
Who you bringing?
My lovely girlfriend.
Oh, that's nice.
She's upstairs.
Her name is Scarlett Johansson. No, just teasing.
No, it's not.
I just got you in trouble. I'm sorry, dude. I didn't mean to say that.
She's not listening.
I apologize. No, that's awesome, Dana. We wish you the best. And
You think you're going to win? What do you think?
What do you
What's your
think?
prediction?
Do you have your speech prepared? How much?
I had no speech prepared. You know what? The last time I had a speech prepared is when our losing streak started. I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I'm not doing it this time. I'm hoping for the best, but prepared for the worst because everyone thinks it's going to be the King's speech. But the fact of the matter is, it's a horse race, and that there's even the possibility that I could be on that stage that's just gratifying enough. But I in a weird way, I kind of expect that there was no chance, just so I could go and kind of enjoy it. And I actually really appreciate you having me on because I was tweeting everything and I saw you guys were going on. And I'm like, this would be awesome just to go on and do this before.
Awesome for us. Are you kidding?
But for me, it keeps my mind off of what I'm about to go and do.
Okay, here's the most important question. Will you tweet from the Kodak Theater?
Yeah, I'm gonna tweet from when I get off of here. I'll tweet. I've already tweeted that I was getting ready to do this, and then I'll tweet from the car, the red carpet, as much as they let me. They don't allow cameras, but I do everything from my iPhone. I use that Pano 360 app. I'll try to do one.
I'd love a Pano 360.
Yeah, I'll try to do one within the theater. If they'll allow me, if I don't get thrown out before the awards start.
Let me just give you a tip because as somebody who flaunted the regulations of Apple and
go ahead
and streamed Steve Jobs' iPad announcement, and of course has never been invited back again. Just go ahead and do it.
Yeah. Also, did you invite Zuckerberg to go with you?
You know what? If Zuckerberg wanted to, and I'm sure my girlfriend would kill me, I would take him.
I tried to get him to go to the premiere, and he didn't seem very excited.
He did see it eventually, though.
He did. He went with the group, but I actually tried to get him to do it to just like ruin your premiere, and good for me. But
that wouldn't have ruined my premiere at all.
I know it would have been good for everybody, but he didn't seem interested, so I tried. I told him to go.
I ran into his sister on the red carpet at the Golden Globes.
Right.
She was
covering it.
Ironically, as we walked out onto the red carpet, she was right ahead of us, and they announced who it is, so they know who they're shooting photos of. And they said Dana Brunetti, producer of The Social Network. And I saw this little rustling ahead of us, and it turned out she turned around and came back to me and introduced herself.
Yeah,
and we actually had our picture taken together. It was pretty cool.
She's pregnant also, which is interesting.
Yeah.
But she's super friendly. She's incredibly
Oh,
social.
Randy Zuckerberg.
Yeah, she's very social and has a lot of personality and a terrific woman. But.
You know, Dana, if I were Mark Zuckerberg at this point, I know he wasn't happy at first. At this point, I would thank you profusely. The social network did more for Mark Zuckerberg than any number of Oprah interviews could have done. Oh, absolutely.
I still don't
it
think he's-
made him a popular celebrity.
Yes, true.
Absolutely.
I think I made him Man of the Year.
I think Time Magazine might have been paying attention. Absolutely.
It's not that 600 million people using his network or anything.
Well, that has something to do with it, but I think a little Hollywood.
Do you not think Julian Assange would have not gotten Man of the Year?
I think if it had come earlier.
I think a little Hollywood glitter
Yes, you're
does
right.
not hurt.
You have strewn Hollywood glitter upon him.
Exactly. Dana, we wish you all the best. We'll
Good
be
luck.
watching with great
Good luck.
interest as you stride down the red carpet with at Jargon.
That's right.
And everybody should follow Dana on Twitter so you can watch him tweet live from the ceremony. I want to see the tweet. Oh, my God, oh, my God, oh, my God, oh, my God. We won, we won, we won. I want to see that tweet.
Also, go to the parties. They're really fun.
I think Dana knows about the parties.
Look, I got the. You know what? Here's one thing I've always faced all my life because I have a girl's first name.
Vanity Fair, right?
Yeah, but look what it says, Miss Dana Brunetti.
Hey, at least you're +1. That's good. Hey, Dana, thank you so much for joining us on what is obviously one of the biggest nights of your life. I really appreciate you taking the time to
By
talk to
far,
us.
clearly the biggest night.
Oh, it's so exciting. Will Kevin be with you, or is he going?
Say again?
Is Kevin Spacey going with you?
Yeah, he's presenting tonight. You might have just scooped it. I don't think anybody knows that. But
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah, he's presenting tonight. And here, a funny bit of this, the last time I was at the Oscars, as you know, I started as Kevin's assistant. The last time I was there was 10 years ago with him for American Beauty, and he won that night. And now I get to go this year as a nominee.
Hollywood, only in Hollywood.
Yeah. Dana, good luck to you. I always have felt like you're a good friend of the network. We love kind of watching your success, and we're rooting for you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Take care.
All right, have a good show.
Dana Brunetti. Oh, my gosh, she must be nervous. TriggerStreet.com. He's producer of the Social Network.
His next movie, would it be on Groupon?
That would be a bad movie. I'm sorry. You cannot make Groupon.
10% discount.
Amazing. Okay, but now that he's gone.
Did he say he was going to tweet everything and not put anything up? He didn't even mention Facebook. Like, the whole movie's about...
He really should put it on Facebook,
It
shouldn't
goes to Facebook.
Right?
Twitter goes to Facebook.
Yeah.
Oh, he's got a link to that?
Oh, I'm sure he does. I don't even know it is. He's not even my Facebook friend, so I don't know.
It just seemed odd to say, I'll tweet everything when my movie's about the social network.
But you really can't Facebook everything, can you?
You could. You could do it on the app.
Well, that's an interesting question. I actually tie my Twitter to Facebook, so all my Twitter stuff and all my Foursquare stuff and everything goes there. And I think I actually have a very ugly, active Facebook stream. I'm sure that everybody's blocked me and ignores me now.
Doubt it.
Because there's too much stuff.
I suppose.
I do ignore you, Leo.
No.
Thank you for admitting it. Oh, Malik. You ignore me, don't you? I knew you did. I knew you were ignoring me. No,
Only on Facebook, though.
Only on Facebook.
Only on Facebook.
Yeah, I oughta. Why I oughta.
What can I say?
Why I oughta.
Yeah, look at 10% off. That's not cool. 50% off is cool.
That's cool.
That's the movie.
I could see it winning for screenplay, for sure.
Yes.
Aaron Sorkin's amazing. Who doesn't love Aaron Sorkin?
Yeah, it'll win screenplay.
It's such great fiction.
Well, I think we're all agreed on that. You know, Dana, we've interviewed Dana. I interviewed Ben Eisenrich when the book came out, The Accidental Billionaires, that it was based on, and we interviewed Dana then. We've interviewed Dana since. And he knows, you know, I was fairly critical of the movie when it came out. He knows that. We had a little mock battle back and forth, but it's kind of fun when you know the guy who's nominated. You got to root for him. Yeah. You got to root for him.
Screenplay.
Mesrich. Am I saying that right, or is it Mesrich? Ben Mesrich.
You know, the movie was a whole lot better than the book, for sure.
Yeah, the book was soft. It was fake. It was made up.
Or the reality.
Right.
It wasn't even well written.
And they based it on Eduardo's story, not anybody else's
Eduardo
story.
who walked away with billions of dollars.
Yeah.
Poor Eduardo.
Can you believe the gall of the Becker Twins, or whatever
The
their name?
Winkelweis.
The Winkelweis, that they're actually going back after getting whatever they got, 60 million. Yeah. They're going back and asking for more.
Those ham bones just want to keep at it, I guess. You know, whatever.
I don't think those guys even had the idea. They don't look like the kind who have any ideas.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well-
sorry.
Well, that's why I have to admit, again, fiction, but the Larry Summers in the movie, Larry Summers, a president of Harvard, saying, get over it. Make up another. I thought that was a great, I don't know whose voice he was speaking for, but I thought that was quite apropos. I'm sure that Larry Summers did not, in fact, say that to the Winklevi.
He might have.
Think he might have?
He actually was. The guy who played him was a lot like Larry.
He was, wasn't he? Yeah. You're men of Harvard. Just come up with another idea for crying out loud.
Yeah.
There is a lot of good in that
I don't
movie.
think the Vi are going to be there at the Oscars. They look excellent in tuxedos.
They're sharp dressers, sharp-dressed men. And I bet they smell like sunshine and honeycomb.
I have met them. They smell like.
Do they really? You've met them?
Yes. Manly sunshine.
or brute, one or the other.
Not brute.
Maybe a little
That's
axe.
not the kind of manly.
No, not that kind of manly. No. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back with more. Kara Swisher is here from All Things D. When's the All Things D conference coming up?
May 31st to June 2nd.
So you're already well into planning for
We
it,
are
probably.
sold out. We have.
You're sold out already?
Oh, we sold
Holy
out in
moly.
December. We sold out in December.
Who's going to be at it?
Among other people, Bob Iger, CEO of Twitter's, Stephen Elop from Nokia, CEO of HP.
Iger, CEO of Disney.
Leo. Iger is CEO of Disney.
Leo Apotheker.
Apotheker. The head of DARPA, who happens to be a woman, very fascinatingly.
That's neat.
Is
DARPA relevant these days?
Well, we're going to talk about that. Yes, actually, I think so. And a whole bunch of other people. Mark Pincus from Zynga, Andrew Mason from Groupon.
What do you think of Mark Pincus?
I've known him for a long, long time, when he was in his first company in Washington, D.C. I wrote a story about him at the Washington Post. So I think a lot of things about Mark Pincus.
Very politic of you.
Thank you.
After the conference, I'll ask.
He's a great entrepreneur. He's a great entrepreneur.
Well, no question. And Zynga is a huge success. I mean, it's
He's
amazing.
had a lot of companies. But
Yeah. What was his first company?
It was, God, I'm totally blanking. It was one of my first big stories of the Washington Post, too. What was it called? Maybe Ohm would remember. It was like a push service, essentially.
Pointcast?
That wasn't Pointcast.
Wasn't
That was
Pointcast?
another guy, but it was like a Pointcast. And then he did it with Sunil Paul, and they were the only. The only entrepreneurs in Washington at the time were Steve Case of AOL, people who sold computers to the government, and Mark. And so that was who I covered.
Well, good for him. I wonder how he got the idea for Zynga and the social gaming.
He's always been interested in gaming.
Smart guy.
Yeah, he is. He's always on top of. He's always been there.
Yeah.
Really
That was Freeloader, right?
Freeloader. That's right.
Wow, Freeloader was a Pointcast competitor, really.
It was like that, yeah. And then it kind of ended. Several of his companies didn't end very well, but this one obviously is a home run. So, and we're going to have the CEO of Groupon, Andrew Mason, who's hysterical. We're having Eric Schmidt coming to talk about his new role.
What is he? That's a good one too. What the hell?
I know. Well, that would be my first question, Leo.
Eric.
I'm just going to go. What the hell?
What the hell, Eric?
That's the first question.
What was it? See, this is why I like doing TWiT, because you wouldn't, of course, a big conference, all things. You're not going to go on the stage and go, Eric, what the hell?
We might. That's not true. We have said things. I said that to Carly Fiorina, and that didn't work out so well.
Did she swear at you?
No, that was Carol Bartz.
Oh yeah, Carol. She's famous for that. Yeah.
Indeed.
Good one. We're looking forward to that. All
it's going
things
to be
D.
great.
That'd
We're
be
going to
great.
put the whole thing on the web, so people who can't come. We have a big wait list right now.
Really? Oh, that's good.
Yes. Oh no, it's a.
But for paid, or are you going to give it
Paid
away?
is sold out. No. We're going to give it away for free online.
So since everybody already bought tickets, the hell with it. Give it away.
Yeah, we put the whole thing up.
You already made your money.
That's right, my friend. Yes.
Give it away.
Yeah, we're all sponsored up.
Rock
we're all
on.
Sold out.
Anything we can do to help.
No, we're doing one in China though. We're announcing it tomorrow. Ooh, news here. We're doing a D in China, in October 19th. In Hong Kong.
That will be fascinating.
Yeah, that'll be great. We're very excited about
that. Will be fascinating. A lot of names nobody's ever heard of, but that's what's fascinating about it.
We're going to bring the
big Americans.
We want to see the big Americans, and then we're going to do all through Asia, India, Vietnam, anywhere we can find some really good people, and then we're going to do all demos from Asia. And my dog is leaving now; he's not interested.
Phineas the dog.
So so we're going to do that, and we've done so many ones, but the big one is the big one.
Sounds like fun. I can't wait.
Yep.
More coming up with Kara, and of course our guests. Iyaz Akhtar of thisoldnerd.com and Malik of gigaohm.com. But I want to mention very briefly before we get to the more news, how are we doing on the Oscar countdown? What time is it? Oh, we got plenty of time.
Yeah, lots of time.
Oh, we're great. 2 hours.
Yeah, well, not. But
is Joan on the red carpet?
I suspect she is.
Oh, I better launch the TV application on our big screen so we can watch. Meanwhile, I want to tell you guys about FreshBooks.com. If you're a small business person or a freelancer, one of the big issues is getting paid. And I know it was for me when I was first starting out in TWiT. It was just me. I used FreshBooks. FreshBooks is the best way to invoice. It's very easy. It's online. Of course, you can upload your logo. Those invoices look just as pro as can be. Your clients get an email saying, here's the invoice. They can download a PDF. In fact, for an additional fee, and I did this, you can even have a printed invoice from FreshBooks mailed to the clients complete with a postage-paid return envelope. So it's very pro-looking. But here's the thing I like about it. The invoice is sent to the clients. They can pay via credit card, via PayPal. They have 11 electronic payment service options, or, of course, by check. Makes it easier for them to pay. Makes it easier for them to pay means it's more likely you get paid promptly. There are automated late payment reminders, so you follow up. If you do time tracking, that's got built-in time tracking, and you can consolidate those timesheets into a single invoice with the push of a button, which is very nice. There's even an iPhone app that will help you with not only time tracking, but you can actually invoice right from the iPhone app. Find out why 2 million people are sending and paying invoices with FreshBooks since 2004. That's when I started using them. And I am a huge fan. It's just a great little company. FreshBooks.com. It's free for up to 3 of your clients. Takes about a minute to set up an account. FreshBooks.com. Is this true? Are they still giving away birthday cakes? Are they? All right. I see tweets from our listeners that say, I got a birthday cake. Every day, FreshBooks is giving away a birthday cake to one of our audience members. And it doesn't have to be your birthday. There's nothing better, is it, than getting a birthday cake and it's not your birthday? It's like just free money. So they draw a name every day for the entire month. FreshBooks.com to get in on the birthday cake. That's kind of fun. All right, back we go to the news. Kara, do you recuse yourself on Google Stories? Or
No, I have a big disclosure. Not all of them. Peter does all the advertising ones, and John.
Since your partner works at Google.
Yeah, I don't do anything that she works on.
But she doesn't tell. She doesn't come home and tell you.
She never tells me anything. It's very clear. We have a large. You go and read it. It'll bore you into submission. We have a long disclosure that she doesn't tell me anything, and if she does, I would put it in the story. I've only recused myself once from a story that she was that she didn't tell me she was working on, and I found out through another source.
So later you said, oops.
I had to stop writing about it.
So this has been an issue for a while with Google, is these content farms.
Yes.
And Google's always said, we don't, that's illegal or whatever it is.
Right.
But now they've declared war.
Apparently.
What does that mean? Is it like worse than what it was before?
Google's always changed its algorithm, so I think they're making a bigger deal of it. They're making a big public deal of it versus it.
When are they going to declare war on-demand media?
Well, they aren't. They haven't. They didn't.
They won't.
What was interesting was that some of the content on demand is good, some of it's not. I mean, it's just like all these other sites, Mahalo or Associated Content. What was interesting is some of these surveys showed that Associated Content, which Yahoo owns, got hit badly. I'd be curious to know how Blogger got hit. That's a Google property.
Oh yeah.
They didn't talk about that. So it is a question of whether, and also what standards of quality is Google imposing here? Like who decides?
This is that a kind of authority issue, isn't it?
Right.
How does a search engine judge authority or quality?
Right, exactly. And I think that'll be interesting. But I mean, I think what's most interesting, and I talked to Yahoo this afternoon about it, Luke Beatty, who created Associated Content, which was bought by Yahoo about a year ago.
Right.
I think his argument was that we don't rely on search very much for. As much as we used to anyway. We rely on social increasingly.
Oh, that's interesting.
Facebook, and we rely a lot on the distribution on the Yahoo owned and operated networks, but search has become less important. That's his.
I think that's true for everyone.
Yeah, so
I think that is so not true for all these guys. I think they just are making that stuff up.
I mean, I think go ahead. Go ahead.
No, what I was saying is like most of these guys, I think there's two things to it. I think Google needs these content forums as much as they need Google. Okay, they make a lot of money from each other, both the companies, whether it's demand media or whosoever it is. They are big proponents of the Google advertising system. So Google is clearly benefiting from that. If it really hates them, it should stop doing all business with them, right? I think that's the key thing. This is somewhat like the old days of the PC when, you used to have to buy a bigger PC because Microsoft would release a new software upgrade, and because it would need more horsepower. I think it's the same kind of thing. It's like more of these guys are actually doing things to use up whatever Google is offering as an opportunity to make money. And then they use, on the other hand, Google's advertising systems to make money. So I think there is a bit of the, it doesn't make, it's not all that clear to me. I think there is something, this is more of a PR exercise.
I'd agree.
And that, and I think
they say a major change in our algorithm.
They've got some other issues going on at Google. So, they like to, there've been a lot of complaints about the quality, what's of all they're facing.
They say this will impact 11.8% of all Google queries.
Well, you know what? Google's facing really major challenges from Facebook and social networks in terms of search.
Social is important.
Absolutely, no question. I think it is. I think they're
Google's
facing,
acknowledging it. They're putting social search in front and center.
But they still don't have a social solution. I mean,
Not a very good one.
A piece that I haven't written yet. The lead is social to Google as search is to Microsoft.
Oh, I like it.
Thank you.
I like it.
But I mean, I think it's a big issue, and it's a big issue for them to make a big issue of it.
Right.
I think Ohm is completely
but it's
right.
more PR, Ohm, than it is substance?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, why would, look, all one has to do is start looking into the financials of demand and see where their revenues are coming from, how much business they do with Google. And, it all starts to make sense. I mean,
but wait a minute, but that's a short-term point of view
let me finish. I think what you're looking at is the guys at AOL are trying to do the same thing. It's like, well, we're going to set up our own, content farm so that we can make more money. I mean, the whole world wants to go that way, and they want to go that way because there is clearly a clean and easy way to monetize that, crummy traffic, so to speak, right? And that is Google itself.
If Google actually gets rid of these content farms and they're still serving ads on these sites that still survive this, I guess, removal, can they charge more money for the ads they're serving on those sites? Would that make any financial sense? I'm just trying to wrap my head around exactly how they're making money from all this stuff.
So here is how they make money, okay? The more content farms are out there on the web, there is more content on the web, the longer it takes you and I to find things. The longer it takes you and I to find things, the more they can serve up ads.
But in the long run, the longer it takes us for us to find things, the less likely we are to use Google.
Exactly. So what they have to do is optimize their business around the idea that, we are going to just make it usable enough.
So you're saying longer, but just not long enough to bother us.
Yeah. I think
that's cynical as hell.
So just good enough to work so that I really think this is because their search results have been like nonsense, and they have that little stupid preview now, so you don't have to look at the content farms. I know I've been irritated by the results. I've actually used Bing more lately because I just wasn't getting the right stuff. So what's that?
Can Google get away with this because there isn't a credible alternative?
Yeah, sure.
That gives them more.
Yes, they can.
Yeah, they can push it harder.
Yeah, I mean, I think the issue is they've got that they need stuff in, as Ohm said, they need stuff to search. I mean, and one of the problems is Google is this giant Borg that's been eating information for years, including from the Wall Street Journal, from where I work, or everywhere else, and they've run smack into.
Now you're doing the Rupert Murdoch.
No. They've done it. They took the
Google
information.
hurts my business.
I'm not
it's
saying
stealing
that.
my stuff.
Thank you for that lovely impression of Rupert Murdoch. But
I don't know
it's
what
not.
he sounds
It's they've run into a piece. Facebook is a planet that won't let it eat them or near them or get near them or anything like that. And so what's interesting is that I had a conversation with a Google executive, and they're like, Facebook should be open because, it'd be better for people if Google could search it. I said, it's good for Google. It's not good for anybody else necessarily. So here they run into massive amounts of content they can't eat. And it's a really interesting problem for them.
It is like the Borg, where they came to a planet that they couldn't
exactly. That's what I'm
subsume.
thinking. And they can't. And Facebook's not letting them in. Trust me. I mean, they've said it very clearly and explicitly that they're not letting.
Is anyone else happy actually about this idea? If the content farms go away, at least our material isn't being ripped off. I know when I would search for my own stuff every now and then because I wanted to remember where the story was, I would see content farms show up before my own work.
Oh, I
hate
drove
me
that.
insane.
Oh, I hate
So I mean, like, is anyone actually, as a user of Google, is anyone else like actually happy about the idea of finding your own work on your own site for once?
Yeah, I think good. Some of the stuff is going to go up higher. Some of it is going to go lower. I think that's someone from Yahoo, and I think they're right. I think it just will depend on how Google tweaks these results.
According to Google, this update is designed to reduce rankings for low-quality sites, sites which are low value add for users, copy content from other websites like Iyaz, or sites that are just not very useful. This is Amit Singhal and Matt Cutts talking in a blog post. Amit.
Sweetest guy.
Yes, as is Matt. Nice people. At the same time, it'll provide better rankings for high-quality sites, sites with original content. But isn't that what Google needs to do and wants to do? What's wrong with that? This is...
They do. They've just made it. I think the point is they're making a big deal of it. And this is something they should be doing every single day. It's sort of like saying, today the Wall Street Journal is creating factual content that we're serving up to our readers. Right. It's factualer than ever today.
Surprise! We will actually have
33% more factual.
More stories. More true stories.
That's what they're supposed to be.
So this, I don't know who this Systrix is. This is an SEO blog. But they, so Systrix... They have a visibility index, an index value calculated from traffic on keywords ranking and click-through rate on specific positions. They claim, based on a data set of 1 million keywords checked before the update and yesterday, these are the 25 biggest losers.
Yeah.
Wise
Yahoo's
Geek,
disputing this, by the way.
eZine articles, Suite 101, Hub Pages, Buzzle. Associated content number 6.
Yeah, I know. Yahoo is. I will be having.
That's the Yahoo site.
I have an interview with Luke Beatty where he disputes the.
He says this is just.
He says
BS.
you can't know within a 24-hour period. He said we'll know within weeks, and he suspects a downgrade for sure on many sites. He expects an upgrade on some, but he doesn't. He said you can't. These
LoveToKnow.com, Mahalo's on here, business.com, doityourself.com.
It's a very good site. Some stuff is good on it. Some stuff.
Well, some stuff on Buzzle is excellent
That's right,
too.
exactly.
Actually,
that's the issue. I mean, I think these are just
FAQS.org. That's a good. Yeah, this is Examiner.com. Is that the San Francisco?
No,
Exam?
No.
Allbusiness.com. That's not a bad site. Well, anyway.
I think the bigger issue which Kara was actually bringing up is that a lot of these sites actually do make decent content. Like not all of them, but some of them do. And I think Google needs to figure out how to deal with those people as much as it needs to figure out how to deal with the nefarious people in there.
Shouldn't it be just page by page? Why site by site?
I think
there is a lot of the stuff which is going on there is actually on a page-to-page basis also. This is where people are just like people were always writing viruses for the Microsoft OS. It's the same thing. People are writing hacks for the Google, search OS essentially. And I think that's exactly the parallel right now. This will be a battle which will continue, and they need to kind of make sure that they don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. And there's one thing I would say about Google. Of all the companies, of their size, of that magnitude, they're one of the companies which actually tries to do the right thing. Okay, I may be cynical about them. I may be very critical about them. I do want to make sure that I point that out, that they are actually at the very core as a company, they believe in doing the right thing. Now, as they hire more and more people away from companies like Microsoft, you're going to see their corporate behavior go down the drain. But as a company, as of now, I think Kara can attest to that, given that she has been writing about them forever. And I would say the same. They have always strived to do the right thing. It doesn't sometimes work out the way you and I would like it to work out, but I would give them full credit for trying at least.
Yeah, I think so. I think they're, it's not, I think you're absolutely right. I agree with you completely. I do think they're facing a lot of pressure from social networks, and you're beginning to see that they need to compete better, and they have to make it more obvious that they're competing. They don't just get to operate and be fabulous 100%, and make all this money. They have to face these issues and talk about them. So it's a good sign for them to do that.
Do you think, though, that real people ever even see any of this or notice any of this?
Yes, I do. I think when you get crappy results, you do.
Yeah, that's what you notice.
Yes. When you get
that's all good. I mean, the PR thing is all for us, but
yes.
But all real people care about is it working for me?
Good results, and they're reinforcing that they're interested in good results.
Yeah, which they should be.
Yeah.
You say that Matt Cutts' assertions about Microsoft Bing lifting Google search results are loopy.
Oh, I did. Yeah. I just thought that was kind of a strange, They're being.
And it looks like you're pointing out that Cuts is being kind of groomed as like the
Cuts
superstar.
Is.
of
Oh
this.
no, I printed some emails from Washington. He's been appearing in Senate committees. He's been appearing before the Antitrust Institute. He's the face man for Google.
Well, that's a nice. He's a nice guy.
He's a nice guy, but he's like he calls himself the web ambassador or something like that. He's got some title like that. But I like Matt a lot. But he's definitely been super aggressive in, in that whole Microsoft thing, which I think Google did not look terrific in. I don't know what Ohm or Iyaz thinks, but I didn't think they looked very good at all in that particular fight.
I think there is the bigger story, which I almost wrote and I didn't, was how corporate, leaders and corporations are using Twitter to misbehave. What was this guy from Google?
Vic
Vendotra. I mean, how is that the right thing to do? How is
what did Vic misbehave? What?
No, he put a tweet up that said a turkey and eagle doesn't make when the Nokia
saw
Microsoft.
that. Yeah.
He was juvenile, but Vic is very well known for making a string of stupid jokes.
But Kara, how is that the right thing to do for a company?
It's not.
Whose corporate motto is "do no evil"? That is doing evil to its competitors because it's
making fun of a Microsoft Nokia
they
merger?
did it before the merger, before it was announced.
And they had an NDA on that.
Yeah.
Oh, so he broke an NDA to make that tweet.
Yeah, and I can't believe, Larry and Sergey and Eric would let him get away with that. That is a, crummy move in my opinion. I think that is corporate misbehavior, right?
I wrote a piece saying I thought this was what life was like under Larry, this is to me vintage Larry, actually. You know him well. Very aggressive, very, Larry makes a lot of remarks, including internally at Google. He's very snarky. He can be very snarky in his comments, and I think what Vic did was something that might not have happened under Eric. Eric's still the CEO, but I thought it was a very juvenile, I don't know if it was evil, I thought it was juvenile and obnoxious. And then it was followed by another Google executive who did the same thing, another engineer. And it was sort of sour grapes. And then Eric, of course, did say, of course, we wanted the deal publicly later. He was a little more gracious about the situation.
There's been other companies which have done the same thing. So it's not like just Google, but it's just like how people are using Twitter to just kind of just let it all out. Just publicly they're airing their private laundry, or so to speak.
Yeah. It was sour grapes.
Yeah.
Very sour grapes and very unattractive to watch.
Google's always kind of had this kind of unfortunate.
No,
even Eric Schmidt hasn't been
he's
very
sort
judicious.
Of lobbed the dumb remarks.
Yeah.
We have a picture of him with a ball in his mouth.
Can I be honest? I kind of prefer that. I'd rather see a company that isn't quite so calculated and polished. And then you kind of, you hope you might see some evidence of what's going on behind the scenes.
Because one time I remember, I don't know if Ohm, you were at this. It was an event for Android, and Vic made one remark about Steve Jobs, another one about Apple, and then he made 8 more, and it became
that was Google I/O. Yeah, last year it was very snotty.
Are you 12? Like
it
one
was
joke
extremely snotty.
Fine. And so it does create this little strange.
I
among
like
the press.
it.
You like it?
I like it.
Except they were
I think
funny.
it's genuine. Well, it doesn't matter. These are engineers. They're not. They're not comedians. It's not Steve Martin up there.
I think the point is, if you have an NDA with the company,
that's different. I agree with you on that.
And then you go out and make remarks like that. How will anyone should take you seriously?
Well, they'll never get another NDA. Right? Yeah.
I mean, that's the point. Like,
But it reminds me of the old days of Microsoft when Microsoft was cutthroat and would say things like that.
They would.
What did I
say?
There is a Microsoft influence at work at Google. Google is becoming the new Microsoft.
I think we need more of that in Silicon Valley.
The new old Microsoft.
Let's get the pirates
of new Microsoft.
Yeah, the new whatever. What the heck. By the way, Dana Brunetti is now left for the Oscars. We have this just in from Twitter.
Whoa.
He looks good in red, doesn't he? Oh, I'm sorry. That's not him. That's the tuxedo guy.
That's Ms. Dana.
That's Ms. Isn't that? Wow. That's great. That's jargon.
Red is a good color, and she's posing the way you're supposed to in Us magazine.
That's
the hip out.
But can I say something? Red is a good color, except for on the red carpet. You don't want to clash.
Oh, red's always a good color.
Oh, you think even on a red carpet?
I used to cover a lot of those events.
Did you really?
Yep, for the Washington Post.
Were you like you were a feature reporter?
I was a feature reporter in the style. I did parties for the Washington Post.
Style, huh?
No, I don't have very much of it, but I did cover it.
Anything? I'm sorry, Iyaz. I had turned you down because the phone was ringing.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not at my own home, so this is a problem. But I did want to mention this. I mean, hasn't everybody, like from Apple to Microsoft, always poked fun at everybody at every event? I mean, for Google to do it, I mean, they can also get away with it because what are you going to do? Are you going to mess with Google? Because they can just make you kind of disappear from search results.
Well, they better not start doing that because that's real. Then I might go, that's evil.
They can. I mean, that's the thing. A lot of people think that
if they turn into the IRS, I think we got a problem.
They can do what they want. I mean, they're a private company, right? The thing is, eventually somebody's going to make a misstep.
They're
even
not.
If it's
They're a public company.
I'm saying they can't. No, I mean they're their own. They're not like a government agency. Is what I mean by that. They can go out there and do stupid things left and right. It's just the question is, since they're the de facto standard in search, they can get away with it.
The only people who would care might be their stake owners.
The stakeholders.
They may not be too happy about that.
Oh, well, I just don't know if normal people are noticing this. The other thing.
I agree with you, Iyaz. That's kind of the point I was making, which is this is totally inside baseball. And normal people, as you said, care about one thing, their results.
Right.
Does it work? Does it not work? And right now, it works better than Bing.
What are they using? And I think
people are using Google, aren't they?
Well, they are, but they're starting to use Facebook for recommendation. All the not just Facebook, social services for Yelp.
Well, I get a lot of stuff from Twitter. You're absolutely right. I follow. If I want to look at what's going on, it's probably now 50-50 between news.google.com and Twitter. And I think that's a big change. You're absolutely right.
I have to say I use social networks a lot more to get information than I used to.
What do you guys think of the deal that Bing has with Facebook? So now that you got actual Facebook results alongside your Bing results, do you think people are more likely to go through Bing, or is this going to help them at all? Or what do you guys think of that?
I think it's great that they have them. It's interesting they won't.
Do you use Bing?
I do. I like Bing. I think it's quite well done. I think it's a terrific product. I think it's hard to compete, in a situation where Google has this much market share. But I think it's a very good version of a search.
Social's an opportunity, a leapfrog.
Yes, it's
Google.
absolutely. It's something that differentiates themselves from Google, and which they've been trying to do. They're not stupid. They're not doing a brute force kind of fight with them. They're doing a much more finding other features that Google doesn't.
Of course,
have.
for that to work, you've got to have a social graph on Facebook that's meaningful and quality.
Right.
And I don't know, does everybody have that? Does my mom have a social graph on Facebook?
Does she? I don't know. Does your mom? I don't know.
Actually, she's not on Facebook. But
all right, well, then forget that.
She used to be. I scared her off. But that's. Do people cultivate their social graph so that it's more valuable? Or do they need
if you're talking about people like your mom, maybe she hasn't changed the default search engine from Microsoft Bing in the first place.
That's probably true. You're right.
But for the social graph thing, I mean, like I'm actually quite picky when it comes to my Facebook friends because I want to make sure that if they're recommending stuff, I'm actually finding out really important stuff instead of like, oh, look, your little kid did this. I don't care. That doesn't help me much. But if they're recommending, an actual, place to eat or the best place in town to have kids around to jump around and tire themselves out, I mean, that's useful. Yeah. So it's maybe you can. Oh, there's the phone again.
That's
I'm
all
sorry.
right. Don't worry about it. So maybe I should ask you, how is Babby formed?
Babby formed?
Never mind. Let's take a break and come back with more. You go get the phone, and I will get this fine commercial mention for our good friends in New York, the Squarespace folks. I love Squarespace. Squarespace is hosting and software that makes it easy to create an exceptional website. For all the talk about Facebook and Twitter and stuff, if you don't have your own website, you really don't control your persona on the web. It's just absolutely vital. And sometimes it's a little challenge if you don't have your own website. Where do I go? What do I do? How do I start it? Squarespace. Now, I know everybody listening to the show has their own website, but maybe family or friends come to you and say, hey, I want to start a site. Can you recommend this? This is the way to go. First of all, easy to use. Go to squarespace.com/twit, click the green button, and without a credit card, without any trouble, within just seconds, they can set up a site for 2 weeks free. Login, password. Actually, you give it a site name, password, email address, and then a CAPTCHA. And that's it. No credit card, nothing. And you can use all the features of Squarespace, including their incredible templates, the social widgets that make it so easy to integrate social networks into your website, the statistics, the photo galleries, the forms, the forums. And then if, they can say, is this it? Is this my site? Is this what I want? You could even do it for him and say, I know Alex Lindsay's done that. He's here. He was at a restaurant the other day, and they didn't have a website. So before he left, he went on Squarespace, set up a quick site, and said, look, you need a website. If you decide you want to keep it, $12 a month. That includes hosting and all the software. But you can get there right now for free just by going to squarespace.com/twit. I'm a big fan. I think you'll like it. And you know, if you've got a blog or whatever, you want to import it, you can. Movable type, WordPress, TypePad, and Blogger, all the big APIs. But really, I think the thing to do is to tell your friends and family, at least set up this page so that you own your presence, your site on the web. Squarespace.com/twit. The secret behind exceptional websites. We can. Did we talk about Watson? We haven't talked about Watson. What did you think about that?
I love Watson.
I love Watson
I want to get
too.
him for D. We might have a computer bowl.
Oh, wouldn't that be cool?
Yes, against the greatest minds in the internet. Yes.
Do the computer bowl thing? That would be so much
we did
fun.
a computer bowl a couple years ago. I put Gates and
Yes,
Schmidt
Kara.
on the same thing. You did it originally. I know.
No, it'd be fun.
Yeah.
No, I
Yes?
think that'd be
okay,
fun.
Well, I will call Watson up immediately.
Call Watson.
I love the whole Watson.
Hello,
thing. It was
Kara.
fun. Yeah.
I've been waiting for your call. I knew you would call.
I thought it was great. I enjoyed it a great deal.
You know, it's pretty impressive. Frankly.
It is impressive, and when they kill the human race, it might not be quite as.
Oh, come on.
Wait a second. Watson's only designed to play Jeopardy. So, I mean,
whatever.
unless conquering society is just playing Jeopardy, then we're in trouble.
No, but once they get smart, we're interviewing Ray Kurzweil next week, and he's the guy who says that computers are going to be smart enough to design
That's the
themselves.
whole plot of the Terminator. You know,
But no, and I asked Ray about this. This was pre-Terminator, but I asked Ray about this a few years ago, and he said, "No, don't worry, because they'll revere us as their makers."
Oh, right, sure. Hello, Terminator. 1, 2, 3.
Oh,
We made them.
We can always pull the plug. Yes.
They're going to say we're God to them.
Whatever.
Whatever.
You saw Planet of the Apes. You
I
know what
did.
happened there?
God damn you! You did it! You dirty ape!
Excuse me.
There were
damn
robots
you
in
all
Planet of
to
the
hell.
Apes?
Damn you all to hell.
Thank you. I love that movie.
Charlton Heston.
It's just on the TV the other day. It's great.
They're a little rubbery.
No, they're terrific. They're tremendous.
No, they're a little rubbery.
It's the greatest movie ever made. Thank you.
All right, as long as we're talking about
It
movies.
should win the Oscars. It was cheated.
It's cheated. Why hasn't? Did Charlton Heston? Did he win for Big Hur? Big Hur. Ben Hur? Did he ever win? Did Charlton
No,
Heston?
I don't have
Chat room. This is I've already done the
deserved it for Omega
the singularity
Man.
thing. I've
Omega Man was
externalized
another
my
great
brain into the chat room. Chat room, check for me, will you? Yes, Leo. Charlton Heston, Oscar winner. Working.
Now, this would be a good use for Watson right now.
Yes,
Working.
exactly. Working.
Working.
Another movie that should have won
I'm
an Oscar
sorry,
was Valley
Dave.
of the Dolls.
Working. Beyond the
don't
Valley of the
know.
Dolls.
Any of the Valley of the Dolls.
So
Let's discuss movies that should have won the Oscar.
the Oscars are tonight, and let's see. I want to go to this. According to Web Trends, they looked. What they did is they surveyed blogs, they surveyed websites. Working. Yes. By the way, the chat room says Charlton Heston won for Ben-Hur.
Look at that.
Yeah, best actor.
Deserved. Great film.
Deserved, according to IMDb awards. So the Academy Award for Most Buzz. Here's a great infographic from Mashable. Leading actor is pretty close. James Franco for 127 hours.
Nope.
I don't think so.
Eh.
Then Colin Firth, Javier Bardem for Beautiful, Jeff Bridges for True Grit, which, by the way, brilliant True Grit. He's just not the dude. But he won last year, so he can't win again. Jesse Eisenberg, Social Network, is in 5th place. That's 12,000 mentions. Best Picture. But now, if you're asking the blogosphere, you know that they're going to say Inception.
Wrong.
Crappy picture. Social Network, number 2. Black Swan, number 3. The Fighter, number 4. True Grit, number 5. 127
Almost flipped
hours.
this on its head.
King's Speech was number... Yeah, it's upside down. Only 0.9% like the kids are all right. Supporting actor Christian Bale for The
Phineas ran
Fighter.
back for this section.
Yeah, Phineas likes the Oscars. I could tell he's really into it.
Michelle Leo is probably going to win.
Do you?
Best-
I can tell he's falling asleep. Are you there, Om?
I am. Just like Oscars don't interest me.
Oh.
Do you
You
like?
don't like a bunch of actors self-congratulating themselves, and they're all excited.
I love it.
dressed
It's
up.
the
And they
dream
get-
machine.
And they get gold Zooms. I mean, that's way more exciting.
Oh
than
yeah,
the Oscars.
in the basket, the gift basket.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean,
Like
free
the Grammys.
gold Motorola Zooms. Sure,
I was
take that.
I was talking to Waz was on the cruise, and he did Dancing with the Stars. They do the same thing. I guess this is the thing they do in Hollywood. They
Yeah,
give you a
swag.
basket.
Oh,
They
swag.
give a swag basket.
There's levels of swag. Do I know the few? There's the B level. There's the C level. There's the A level swag. So they go to different.
should ask-
swag
I think
We
the
should ask
Gold
Dana
Zoom
what
is
he
A
has.
level. Absolutely, Gold
A friend
Zoom
of mine
is A level.
was a lower level swag person, and then is on a hit television, so she gets to go to the A swag rooms.
Oh, that's funny. So she's gone up.
Oh yeah, I'm very.
So
excited.
he said that they give you a $75,000 basket of goodies.
Right, they do.
He said, had I known, apparently the guy from Jackass said, no way, I don't want that.
taxes on it.
Because he said there's like $30,000 in taxes.
Yeah.
He said it was crap. There were 3 things I wanted. It was just, and everything's valued at list, so
Right.
the taxes are through the
It's a
roof.
big issue in Hollywood, but I think they.
Johnny Knoxville, no, it was Steve O or whatever his name is, who was also on Dancing with the Stars. He said, no, thank you. I don't need any Bulgari perfume
Right.
that I pay 50% taxes on.
Right.
Natalie Portman for Best Leading Actress, according to this is the blogosphere.
Who else is up for leading?
Nicole Kidman for Rabbit Hole, Jennifer Lawrence Winters Bone, Annette Bening for The Kids Are All Right, Michelle Williams for Blue
I
Valentine.
think she's going to win. Annette Bening.
You're kidding, really?
Yep.
Oh, no, I think Natalie Portman,
I don't
shoo-in.
know. We'll see.
Shoo-in. She was crazy in that movie. It's always good. You always win an Oscar if you're disabled or crazy.
I think that movie freaked people out.
Well, it was. It was creepy.
I'm just saying. I think the Oscar Academy is.
Would you prefer it if we talk about Bollywood? Is there something that would make you happier?
No, I'm just listening. I don't really.
Did you see any of the movies, Om?
No, actually none. I saw Salt.
You saw Social Network, right?
I did see Social Network more as work more than movie, like entertainment.
Well, no wonder you don't enjoy this stuff.
Salt was good, wasn't it?
Salt was actually really good.
No,
I like
really?
Angelina
Yes, it
Jolie.
was. Hello, Angelina Jolie with a gun. Enough.
Come on.
Done.
Doesn't she always
Done.
have a gun?
Exactly. Done. Done. Right, Om?
Was there whipped cream
I'm
involved at
on
any
board
point?
for that. I'm on board
There is
for
no
that.
need for whipped cream with Angelina Jolie.
Yeah.
And TMI.
Okay, I want to watch Salt. I've not seen
Great,
it, so
it's great.
I don't notice it in the nominations.
You know, Om, that was supposed to be a Tom Cruise movie, interestingly enough. It was designed for a man. That was a man's role.
I like
That's what
it.
made it so interesting. The other thing I hear, the ending's actually good for a change
Well,
in a movie like that.
Yeah.
But I can't spoil anything.
Don't say anything. I haven't seen
It's
it.
designed for a sequel.
Ah,
Look at that.
does
But
that
it's
mean
designed well.
does Morgan Freeman come on and? No,
No, that's not.
that's the
a
wrong
different
movie.
one. That's Wanted. I'm a big Hollywood. I used to cover Hollywood.
You do. You know this stuff.
I
I'm
covered
very
celebrities
impressed.
I know every celebrity in the world.
Very impressed. So, what do you think about that New York Times article that said the young are drifting away from blogging?
Oh, blah, blah, blah.
Blah blah blah.
Isn't that just a label issue? Because, I mean, everyone's on Facebook, everyone's on Twitter. Twitter was a microblogging service. But, I mean, just because you write your thoughts on Facebook and not on Blogspot, is that any different than a real blog?
I don't know.
I guess
Is
if
it
you're
just fancy words?
if
I
you're
think the more interesting thing is people confuse the medium for the message.
I
I think that is such a huge problem. So not everybody can sit there and write 2,000 words. Not everybody wants to share their whole life story in a blog post. They want to do it through either Twitter, through photos, through videos, through Facebook, whatever. I mean, people are essentially sharing more. And I think that is the key thing. I think 10 years later, I've been blogging for more than 10 years now, and people still haven't figured out what blogging is. Blogging is an act of sharing yourself. It's not about a tool. Tools don't define what you
You're
do
right.
with. Right. And I think that is so amazing that people still get it wrong all the time.
It's actually one of the reasons I always hated the word podcast. It's focused on the distribution means, not
Right.
what you're doing.
Absolutely.
And blogging
As
is
you
also
have proved in this stunning studio.
Stunning studio. The blogging is also kind of diminutive in a way. It diminishes what you're doing. You're
It just
sharing
seemed like
yourself.
one of those big, jerky New York Times trend pieces that.
That's what Matt Mullenweg seemed to
I
think.
don't know.
He
it just
says
seemed- they've done a couple. They did one about how Silicon Valley valuations were up recently. They sort of pull out the same story every 2 years, and I don't know. It just seemed like
I think
a trend piece.
Yeah, I think that was, though I would say the headline was more sensationalist than the story.
actually
itself.
that's what Matt Mullenweg said. He said the title was written by the editor, not the author, I'm sure, because as soon as the article gets past 2 token teenagers who tumble and Facebook instead of blogging.
Well, Tumblr is kind of a blog. I don't. Why define it? I think Ohm's completely right.
Yeah, it's not the medium, it's the message. I think you're so absolutely right on that one. But is a Foursquare check-in as good as a blog post?
Yeah, why not? I mean, like if you would just write before I went to this diner last night, is that any different than just having it automated?
Good point.
And let me say, I tweeted about Hallie's Diner nearby here, Leo, and it was excellent. Here in Petaluma.
Here in Petaluma, the lovely
Cornmeal
Hallie's Diner.
pancakes
Fantastic.
to die for.
Or you could have gone home, taken a picture, put it on your blog, and said, "This is an awesome."
Yeah, a lot easier actually to tweet.
It's the same thing. It's exactly the same thing.
Yep.
Didn't do a picture. I ate it too fast.
I used to do this on a website. I used to do this with tables and things before they had blogs.
Yeah.
So like when they was blogging, I'm like, this is so much easier. But I was thinking it was the same thing. It was just a web page.
Bracket
was easier to work
TD,
with.
bracket TR, Hallie's Breakfast / TR. Yeah, that's lots of fun.
I'm so glad that's not the way it is now.
Oh, I did it too. I'm right there with you. The medium is not the message. Best mohawk, by the way. Best mohawk.
Oh, for the dog, yes.
For the dog, absolutely. And
by the way, people have asked what kind of dog this is. Again, it's a rescue dog, but they think it's a Corgi Terrier mix.
There's definitely terrier in there.
I don't know.
But when you hold him, it feels like a Corgi.
Yeah, he does.
Does this interest you more, Ohm?
Oh, the dog. No, I think let me just what Ohm was saying about the thing is, I mean, I think the big trend is everybody's communicating online and not in print newspapers. So I think that's really the big trend.
You know,
I'd love to see that story.
I got my Sunday Times this morning, and 2 of the columnists in the Sunday Times were saying goodbye. The ethicist said it's my last. The William Safire on Language column, gone. The New York Times is getting rid of most of its magazine columnists. I mean, it's a thin mag. I didn't.
I'm just saying people are moving.
I got 4 calls this week from friends in mainstream media looking to somehow associate with me because they're freaked out.
Well, they should be.
It is not going well.
4 years ago. 4 or 5
Yeah, you left the Journal to do All Things D.
I did. I did a column saying I will never write for print again unless they pay me a gigantic sum of money.
So that's interesting. See, I think a lot of people think All Things D is the Journal, but it's not.
Not at all.
Is it owned by Murdoch?
It is owned by Dow Jones, which is owned by News Corp, which is owned by Murdoch.
So it's distantly.
It's it's not. Yes, absolutely, but it's definitely.
But
not.
it's the web.
It's the web, and it's not. We compete with the Wall Street Journal.
Right.
I keep telling. I mean.
And by the way, you beat it almost every time.
Sometimes.
Yeah. No, I love All Things D.
Our reporters are excellent.
I read it probably 3 to 1 over the Journal, and I'm a Journal subscriber. I get
you're a tech nut, so.
No, I get the paper. It's sitting here on the table.
Celebrity site, though, obviously.
Would you? I wish you would.
Yeah.
All Things C.
Yeah, we could do any letter. We could do 26 websites.
All Things A, All Things B, All Things C.
What would be you?
I like it.
P would be porn, obviously.
You would be umbrellas. You could be an umbrella.
Ohm's going to run the porn site. It's going to be great.
He could run All Things.
Look at this man. Look at this man.
Now I got him interested.
Clearly the right man for the job.
No? Oh, no.
How about All Things Mohawk?
That's an excellent idea. This dog has a mohawk. It was so freaky.
Right now, the chat room is registering all these URLs.
They are.
Right,
they're getting them all. They're getting them all.
Squatters.
Uh-huh. Well, anyway, clearly the web and the internet and all of this is the next generation of media. And
I think it's the evolution of the media. You know, I think people assume that like things will never change. I think that's so. Why is it so hard for people to come to terms with that things always change, like whether it's the media or it's the society itself? And I think that's exactly what's happening right now. And you know, that's why people say, oh, blogging is coming at an expense of something else. And you say, no, it's not. It's just everything is evolving. Things change. That's what technology is all about.
Humans are, and I think this actually is a Ray Kurzweil point, humans are singularly unable to see change. You know, we are kind of narrow and we very linear, and what we really don't see is exponential change, the kind of change we are in right now. We're totally unable to see it.
I have to say, Ohm was the first person to really, in the mainstream media, Ohm worked for Fortune magazine, and he was the first person to really see it years before we started anything in doing it. I'd be curious what tipped him off.
How'd you know, Ohm?
Well, you know what tipped me off was when I was doing Giga Ohm, I was getting more reader interaction from the blog than I was from my magazine.
Me too.
Which was
That's so funny.
2.0.
Yep.
And I sold my book initially when I wrote it back in the day, pretty much entirely through the blog. Everything was, people wanted the interaction. And I think I realized that. I said, wow, this is huge. I mean, it makes no sense to have a big corporate infrastructure to do basically the main task of a media organization is to present information to its ultimate customers, who are the readers. And if you don't do that, you don't have a business. And I think most of the big companies still don't quite understand that that's the problem they have, is that they're not serving the needs of their customer, right? So they're not doing the job they're supposed to do. Is just bring great journalism. Why is it that Kara can do it or I can do it with a little tiny staff and the other guys can't do it with such massive infrastructure? It's because they're focusing on the wrong things. I think, our business, when I started out doing it, it was a very clear realization. I'm in the business of making my customers happy. My customers are readers. If they're happy, everything else will follow. That was it. That was such a simple...
It wasn't simple, though, because you were very prescient. I have to say, what Om was doing was the inspiration for us, for sure. Really? Absolutely.
That's one of the things that Om said, that the giant infrastructure, they have this giant infrastructure so they can't actually do it. And that I actually find to be a hindrance for a lot of companies. They go, okay, we want to go and be nimble, but the thing is they don't want to continue... Actually, they want to continue doing the things the way they used to, which means layer after layer after layer. But if you're working with a small staff, you can communicate so much faster and get things done so much faster and change really easy. But once you start adding in layers of infrastructure, you start running into problems, I think. We
don't have the worldwide headquarters of all things D is in my backyard.
Yeah. Well, and I'm a little sympathetic as a business owner. When you design a business, you design it around a business plan. And the business plan includes how you're going to make money. And a newspaper was designed, let's say, around the business plan of display ads making money. And when things change, it's not quite so easy to change a business on a dime and to change your business model and change your revenue model, particularly since anything you do on the web these days cannibalizes your existing business model. Very hard for a company to do that.
No. I think, Leo, this is where I would disagree with you, probably for the first time. I think media companies are in the business of information. They define themselves through the medium, right? They do not realize that they are all about selling information, whether it is sold as a newspaper or as an online service or as a TV show or as a podcast or whatever it might be. See, this is why you see a company like Bloomberg thrive in this down market, is because they're in the business of information, right? What you are doing is actually you're selling information with the focus on people who matter the most in your business, who are your readers or viewers, right?
No, I agree with you. It's the same thing they said about the railroads, that they didn't understand. They thought they were in the railroad business. They didn't understand what they were in the transportation business, and so they lost to the trucking industry. But the problem is, the point I'm making is you might even know that, but if your business model is based around something obsolete, it is non-trivial to change it. That's all I'm saying.
It is non-trivial. One of the things that I think is important, and we're making the bet on, I know Om does, is on quality, and so do you.
Oh, absolutely. You have to. That's the internet era, because junk will out.
Eventually.
That's why I don't worry about demand media. Well, no, it will, and people want quality. They'll see it immediately.
So we'll see how that goes. I mean, it's definitely transitional, and it's still experimental. I mean, we make most of our money on the conferences, obviously, but still, it's still the right direction.
I don't think we disagree, Om. I think we agree 100%. You got to understand what business you're in.
Well, thank God. I was going to feel bad about disagreeing with you.
No, I agree with you. I think that you have to understand your business. Most people don't do such a good job of knowing what they do.
I think that is the problem, is that we basically define. I wrote a piece about this recently on the site, which called "Change is Good, but it's also really, really hard." And I shared my story. I've been trying to give up. I've been smoke-free for 3 years now, and not a single day goes by when I don't need to fight that urge.
Right.
Change is so much harder on an individual basis. It's much tougher for companies because they are also predisposed to do certain things in a certain way.
They have an investment in it.
So that is the key thing. I mean, this is one of the main reasons why media companies find themselves in this trouble, is because they have these behaviors which they don't want to get rid of, right? They don't want to kind of say, okay, we are going to stop doing this, right? Like, I think it's been pretty clear that the internet was going to be a destructive force for the newspaper business for about 12 years now. Pretty clear. They still haven't done anything about it, right? I think that's because their refusal to embrace any kind of change. And this is why you see newer entities come up, right? That is why opportunity arises for All Things D or me or anybody else, right? Like, it's because we are willing to make a bet on the change. Like,
and unlike established businesses, you don't have a business to cannibalize. You don't have infrastructure that you have to reinvent.
We do. We have a business to cannibalize.
You do?
Well, the Journal. We're 100% owned by
which
Dow Jones.
makes All Things D kind of an interesting
We're
play.
a weird little. We call it
because you look at the Daily, for instance, which is clearly an attempt to preserve that model.
Whatever. I'm not sure what they're doing there.
Well, it's an attempt to preserve a subscription model without.
We
print.
call ourselves the Crazy Cousins, and I think they think of us as the Crazy Cousins.
Well,
too.
and to their credit,
allowed
that
us to
they let you
exist.
to let
you know what I mean?
that.
But what I really want to do is direct, obviously.
Hey,
See,
if Justin Bieber can get a haircut, you can change your business.
Bieber.
I'm not insulting him.
I'm a
saying,
believer.
I'm saying,
do you know the expression?
there's a guy who said to himself, the bowl cut's not working. I'm going different.
Well, he's not quite that different. I'm a believer.
You're a believer?
Yeah. Get it? I'm also a fanalo, but that's
not a Barry Manilow fan.
Oh, don't even start. Don't insult the man. He's a genius. Thank you. I like Elvis.
I have no opinion on those two.
Are you kidding? Mello, you know every word to Copacabana. I know you do.
I said I have no opinion on those two. I didn't say I don't know who they are.
I don't know what to say now. I really don't. I think we better wrap this up. I don't think we can go anywhere from that.
I wonder if Bieber's going to the Oscars.
Probably. Oh, sure.
Now, here's a movie I want to see.
He's dating Selena Gomez, supposedly, or fake.
I want to see Barry Manilow and Justin Bieber in a duet.
That would be tremendous.
Wow. I will buy that song.
Yeah.
Well, there's the market research. Malik will buy that song. On that note, I'd like to thank you all for joining us. We have an Oscar to go to. Kara Switchers, thank you so much for actually being in studio and bringing
I'm thrilled. I'm going to move
Phineas.
to Petaluma now.
Yeah, good. Now that you know where's a good breakfast, you get some cornmeal pancakes. You're ready. We're set. Our studio will be right across the street from there.
I love the Petaluma.
Loving me some Petaluma. Kara's at allthingsd.com. Too late to go to the conference, but we'll look forward to seeing the live stream. I think that's great. I look forward.
Not live stream.
Oh, not live?
No, sorry.
Why not live?
There'll be 3 speakers
Go live.
Not it's a long and involved in dull discussion with you, but 3 of them will be live.
Okay. Also, thanks so much to Iyaz Akhtar for joining us from This Old Nerd.
So you guys should watch. If you're trying to have a tech-forward life or house or just carrying tech on you, you should watch This Old Nerd. We just showed people how to build a PC last week with the folks from hothardware.com. So
cool.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
We're going to have you back. In fact, you see Iyaz a lot on TNT going forward. Also, Malik, always a pleasure to have you on. You're always fun, and you can disagree with me all you like, because if you say it, I believe it.
No, I don't want to disagree with you, Leo. That's like disagreeing with Yoda.
Wait, I want your Oscar picks though. You didn't. Hey, I want Leo's Oscar picks.
I have my ballot here somewhere. I think a sweep for the Social Network. Not the Social Network, for the King's Speech. Sweep for the King's Speech.
Me too. I'm
sweep
with
for
you.
the King's Speech.
Indeed.
That's my prediction. Director, movie.
Since you didn't see any of the movies, what was your pick?
I'll go with half your picks and half of Leo's picks. Actually, I do want Angelina Jolie to win.
She's not nominated.
That's why I said I want her to win.
She should just get up and steal the Oscar.
Yeah, that's it.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here, and we will see you next time. Next time back at our regular time, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, if you want to watch live at live.twit.tv every Sunday. And don't forget, we're going to South by Southwest live coverage March 12th and 13th. We'll be broadcasting live from Momo's on Sunday. Will you come by?
I shall.
1 to 5. We'll be doing TWiT at 5 p.m. at Momo's in Austin.
I'm flying out of Austin that time.
We'll come by a little earlier. The radio show will be there, TNT.
I shall be there.
Iyaz, are you going down to South by in Austin?
I don't think
Come
I can
on.
this year.
I'm sending you a ticket. I'm sending you a ticket, dude. Don't say no.
We're having a journal.
If you send a ticket, I will.
I will send you a ticket. You're coming.
We're having a party at Momo's
All right.
too.
Are you having a party at Momo's too?
Well, I'll send you an invite.
Are you really?
Yes. The journal is. And
Great minds think
I'm
alike.
their guest.
You're kidding. Yours must be Saturday.
Friday.
Friday. We're there Sunday.
Cool.
Awesome. And we're having a meetup at 7 p.m. So if you're in Austin for South by, please come by Momo's on Sunday and go to the Wall Street Journal party on Friday. Can we cover that party with our live cameras? Can we come in and say hi?
To mine? Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, let me find out. I was. I'm sorry. I was clearly watching the Twitter screen. Yes. Sure.
Thank you. That's the right answer.
Rupert's paying free drinks on
just
Rupert
say
Murdoch.
yes, and if it doesn't happen,
Free
it's
drinks on
nobody
Rupert
will
Murdoch.
remember.
I feel free to just give away his money.
That's what Steve does to me. Steve Jobs always says, "Oh yeah, come on, Leo," and then it never happens.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Another twit. We'll see you next time. Yoda really is in the can. Bye-bye.
I wish I had that editor's cut here, please, for real life.
All right. Okay.
Doing the twit. All right. Doing the twit.
Oh, Phineas. There.
There's nothing better than a dog in a funny hat.
Oh, indeed. Not liking it though. It's a nice fez. As far as fezzes go.
Oh, yeah, we only have the best.
That's a fancy fez.
Oh, we have very fancy fez. But wait a minute, it's
It
not
is.
as fancy as this fez.
This fez is nice.
This is the Chief Twit fez.
Oh. That's regulation size. I think you should. That is
Just a skosh bigger.
I'm having these recollections of Fred Flintstone and
It
the
is.
Oh, my God.
And the moose.
Moose Lodge, or whatever.
Leo, I want one of those.
Yeah, I'll get you one of those. Absolutely.